How's it going? Tell us about the campaign a little bit.
You know, this time around we really have, it's very different from my first run in that we definitely do have infrastructure as progressives now set up that we didn't have in 2018, right? And we've learned how to really run successful races. And, you know, I've got a lot of support there. Now, of course, you know, the more support you get, the more they're going to start throwing in. And so, you know, I'll be honest, you know, running as a progressive, it's very challenging at times, and you have to always remember your why. And I was just in a talk with my good friend, my sister Cori Bush, about this race, and I was like, why am I doing this again? Like, you know, I was happy living vicariously through her. She's been a powerhouse in Washington, D.C. And you know, it's like she was telling me that, you know, Amy, you can't give up. I need you here. We need more people, and we need more people in Washington, D.C. And it's really nice to have that sisterhood, and to hear, you know, what's actually happening behind the scenes, and to have people to call to actually, like, you know, this is a lot. And you know, there's some big names coming into this race now. I was just telling you guys earlier, I mean, there was articles out that, you know, were having me and the Addison protege face to face. It wasn't even my opponent, because in some ways they agreed on a lot of things. It was, if he faces off with Amy Vilela, and they had her down as, she is someone who believes in Palestinians have human rights. And I know, I can't believe I, you know, went there with that, but but it's, you know, DMFI is coming to the race, and so there's a lot of pressures coming in already, and they know now that progressives can actually win, and that I think what is most scary to them, is, especially with someone like me, my why is so deep that I've always said, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, there's only one way they could buy me out. And if they find a way to resurrect my daughter, you guys are gonna have to forgive me. I'm gonna have to buy out to the first person that comes along. But other than that, I have the rest of my life to fight this, and I'm not interested in what they have to offer.
Yeah, and if you don't know the story, Amy's daughter unfortunately passed away because of insurance issues. And our private health insurance system is barbaric. And we let 45,000 people a year die because they don't have privatized health insurance. That's insane. Like, no other developed nation does that. No other developed nation. We are particularly brutal to our own citizens. So no one's felt that more than Amy has. And so I'm right there with you, Amy. I mean, if it happened to someone I love like that, I can't even think about it. I'd fight the rest of my life too, no matter how hard it was. So we appreciate that you do that fight. So I want to ask you about some of the difficult parts, because you know, we got a lot of friends who are running. So Nina Turner, of course, was here as a host for a little while, and now she's running again in 11th District. And I talked to her about some of the tough parts. Michael Schur, another former TYT host, running here in this district, actually. And the first thing Michael said was, wow, I didn't know how tough it was gonna be. Like, I knew it was gonna be tough, but I didn't know it was gonna be this tough. And for him, the number one issue was money in politics, because he's not taking corporate PAC money. And he's like, Jesus, it's brutal raising money, brutal, right? So that's his experience. I'm curious about your experience. What do you think is the toughest parts? Yeah,
that's really tough. I mean, when we're, you know, we have to spend a lot of time calling up people, making sure that we're getting those individual dollars. And you know, it's so disheartening. They will come out and talk about how much your opponent is raising. When you just look at the individual donations, you're neck and neck. But then they have all this other money funneling in from corporate PACs money, right? That makes it incredibly hard. And when you're running, you know, you're getting it from all angles. You're getting it from the left, you're getting it from the right, you're getting it, everyone's, you know, everyone's in this turmoil right now, and people are scared and they're nervous, and they want to have something happening now that's large. They want to see, like, we've got some progressives in, so we should have immediate change right now happening. And I can feel that stress right now out in the progressive side of politics, and I totally get it. I mean, some days I wake up and I'm like, it's been almost 7 years and I'm still having to fight for this. Oh, excuse my language.
No, you can curse on the
But you know, so it gets so disheartening. But what I always remember was that, you know, the civil rights movement didn't happen overnight. Women's rights to vote didn't happen overnight. And if we tire out, I just have to keep telling myself this, if I tire out, if I let them win with that, then we're never going to get anything that we absolutely need to stop needless death and pain and suffering. And that's what keeps me going.
And they kind of know it. That's the hard part, is because if you care about people's lives and people you have to actually represent and get them to where they are, they can have that American dream that we like to advertise, versus people who just don't care. It's easier to just take in the money. If two people are running for a job, is what this is, to fulfill the role of the job. And if someone else's part in running for the position is to get paid by some outside group to give them an advantage, who's getting this job easier, you know? So every time we have these progressives that do get into office, as you mentioned, you talk a lot with Cori Bush and everything, and how the grueling thing she had to go through and continues to go through, that's enough to try and make other people go, man, I'm not gonna do that, look what she has to go through. And that's the plan. That's not lost upon the folks that are pushing this line. And then with the Palestinian line, that's what usually scares off establishment Democrats. To make them go, oh my God, they quoted me saying something about caring for other people. That's not gonna win in this climate. And they back off of it. I guess they expect you to do the same thing.
No, the threat there is, so some districts have high percentage of Jewish American voters, okay? Jewish voters are overwhelmingly progressive, but the one thing that they think they could use to swing Jewish voters is other anti-Israel, right? So I get the logic of that politics. I hate it, but I get the logic of it. But in some districts, and I don't know the demographics of your district, but I would be surprised if there was a high Jewish population. For example, in Nina Turner's, Jamal Bowman's races, there actually are higher Jewish populations in those districts. But they do it in lower Jewish populations too. I'm just talking about the reality and the practicality of politics, okay? So why do they do it if they think it's not gonna affect the voters at all, right? And it's because they say, hey, you better not speak out like Amy Vilela did. Otherwise, Democratic majority for Israel is gonna come in and they're gonna spend millions against you. That's what they did to Nina Turner in the 11th district. They spent over $2 million and it worked. And that was a hell of a threat, because basically made it, the money that came in at the end made about a 50-point difference. Jeez. Money in politics is overwhelming. So you better not speak out on behalf of Palestinian human rights. Otherwise, somebody's gonna come and bribe people into voting against you. And so it's sickening. Now, so they don't bribe the individuals, to be clear. And all of this is legalized bribery through campaign donations. So, but now let's talk about the other set of numbers. So what is the money good for? Well, Jared did an analogy there that I haven't heard before, and I instantly loved it. You're basically doing a job interview, Amy. You're running for Congress, and except instead of one person interviewing you, it's the whole district interviewing you. Right. But guys, get a load of this twist now. If the other person has more money, let's say that it's only 100 people, okay? They have more money, they can reach all 100. So 100 hear them, or maybe 80, right? But a huge percentage hear them and they go, okay, I might like, I might not like, but I heard their case for why I should hire them, right? If you don't have enough money, you can only reach 10 or 20. The other 80, let's give the benefit of the doubt and say they could reach 80 out of 100 and we reach 20 out of 100. Well, how the hell are we gonna win, right? Because 80 people never even heard your case. A lot of times they never even heard your name. And if they did hear your name, it wasn't a smear attack against you, right? So you see how money stacks the odds in this interview?
Right, it does. And to be clear, I mean, we're talking about the lens that I see the world in, and when I hear about human pain and suffering, regardless of where it is and who's involved, we're talking about individuals, and we're talking about governments and holding them accountable for what they're doing. And so it's always the everyday person that's hurt in these conflicts, right? And that's what we're talking about, is people suffering. And when I see it, no matter where they are in the world, I know the sound of a mother's cry as her child's dying. I know that pain. And so whether it's here or it's in another country, how can you not be tapped into? People have human rights, and they will try to use it. What they'll do is they'll use outside expenditures and they find other ways to attack me. It will be smear ads. So I hope they pick a good picture. That's all I'm asking for. I mean, is it too much to ask for? Just make it a good picture. That's all I want. So it's coming. But
All right, well, we're out of time. But look, guys, don't get intimidated by their money either. We don't need as much money as them. We just need enough to win. right? That's a totally different ball game. Cori Bush, AOC, so many others that are good friends and colleagues of Amy that have already won did not have more money than their opponents. They just had enough, right? So Amy.Vegas to help Amy out in this case. Amy, great to see you again. Thanks for coming in.
Here.
Appreciate it.
Once she's in there, she's not gonna stop fighting. I can already tell.
Yeah,
There's the people that say
right.
people will change and all that. No, bro.
There's no change here.
It stays.
No way. And you know, for everyone on the left, you want somebody to fight for Medicare for all. Nobody's gonna fight harder than Amy. No one. Period. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.